Every child deserves the chance to belong, to run alongside their peers and feel the joy of teamwork. For most, stepping onto the rugby field is a simple joy, but for Max Elliott, it was a dream he could only watch from a distance. As a neurodivergent child, Max was on the fringes of a game he desperately wanted to join, the world of team sports seeming so far out of reach. Watching his idols on TV,
Drop goal from Larkham.
Yearning to be just like them, but feeling deep down he could never be one of them. For Max and thousands of children like him, finding a place in sport isn't just about learning the rules of the game. It's about being seen, being accepted, and knowing they belong. Approximately 1 in 10 children in Australia meet criteria for a neurodevelopment disorder. The most common of these are autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, cerebral palsy, and Tourette's syndrome. Max was diagnosed with autism with a complex language disability when he was born, and for years, his parents, Megan and Anthony Elliott, hoped one day their son would be able to run onto the field at their local rugby club. But, given the complexity of his cognitive disability, his parents realised many elements of rugby will need to be modified for this to happen.
And the big issue with not just Max, but with us, is we're really isolated because it's difficult for Max and other young people like Max to go to birthday parties because they're loud, there are lots of balloons, there's lots of sensory issues which people don't really realise, and there are also lots of sensory issues in sport. So there are whistles, there's birds, there are dogs unexpectedly on the field, there are yelling parents, there are referees who yell at you as well, and then the physical contact.
So, in 2014, Megan and Anthony took matters into their own hands, refusing to let their son's love of rugby be overshadowed by these challenges.
Max was non-verbal for a very long time, which means he couldn't speak, and it was difficult for him to understand what was going on. But we'd done some really intensive speech therapy, and when Max was about 11, he was at school part-time. We were still doing a lot of intensive one-on-one. But down at the Oval at Ascot State School, which is where the kids used to go to school, another friend who's just across the road, they were doing this little 1-on-2 rugby skill development program. And the boys started being able to pass the ball and put the ball down, and we went, oh, maybe we could actually create a modified form, a new division, where Max and other young people like Max and boys and girls, they could come and play.
And she did just that, pitching something a little different to their local club in Albion, the Brothers Rugby Club, hoping to create an environment that would allow more children like Max to step onto that field with confidence.
A lot of kids get the opportunity to play team sport from a young age, and Max hasn't had that opportunity, so it was important for us to give him that opportunity. So we just had to modify things to get him involved.
This vision led to the founding of the Ginger Cloud Foundation and the introduction of a new division into Queensland Rugby called the Modified Rugby Program, which was ultimately approved by Rugby Australia.
And we launched that first year in 2014 with one team at Brothers, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah. But it was met with some scepticism.
The most significant challenges, I think, is first the initial, you'll never get rugby to do this. There was a lot of that. Max wasn't there. There was a lot of, will they actually embrace it?
Mm-hmm. And embrace it they did. The Ginger Cloud Foundation and MRP grew in its success, now boasting over 350 participants in 32 teams at 13 clubs across Queensland and the ACT. And Queensland Reds and Wallabies player Tom Liner lending his voice and passion to help champion the cause.
The Modified Rugby program's a great initiative. Gives everyone of all abilities a great opportunity to engage in team activities and develop athletic abilities and skills.
His enthusiasm for the program reflects the transformative effect it has on hundreds of kids.
I was given the opportunity to be a part of a similar program, and it was inspiring. I believe this is just the beginning, and I hope to see programs like this in the future.
As the program continues to flourish, it opens the door for more important conversations surrounding inclusion in sports.
Team sports provide invaluable opportunities for social interaction and emotional development, especially for neurodiverse children. They learn essential life skills such as teamwork, communication, and resilience. Participation in sports can significantly boost a child's confidence and self-esteem, allowing them to discover their strengths and build lasting friendships.
Giselle Thompson is an occupational therapist who specialises in working with young children with neurodevelopment disorders, integrates sports as therapeutic tools to promote not just physical engagement, but also cognitive and social development. She emphasises that these experiences go beyond the playing field. They're instrumental in building essential life skills.
The Modified Rugby program is a perfect example of how tailored sports initiatives can meet the needs of children with disabilities, fostering their social integration and personal growth.
But not all clubs have the resources or volunteers to support such programs. Megan, while proud of MRP's success, recognises the difficulties many clubs face.
But individual clubs are really trying to do more and more. But the issue with that is we want everything to be club-based, but clubs are run by volunteers, and it's really difficult to run a kind of a complex program really well without having someone who either has a background in that area or who has the time to volunteer.
Yeah. This is where the need for broader support and resources becomes critical. We reached out to the Australian Sports Commission and the Clearinghouse for Sport, who provide vital insights and evidence on sport participation across the country, including for people with disabilities. Although they declined an interview, they provided a statement outlining the sports that currently offer modified programs for neurodiverse children. These include popular sports such as basketball, swimming, cycling and football, all of which have adapted versions to accommodate children with learning difficulties. However, the Clearinghouse emphasised that while some progress has been made, the availability of modified sports programs still depends heavily on funding, resources and volunteer support. Without these, many sports clubs struggle to implement the necessary changes to ensure inclusivity. As many organisations begin to recognise the importance of inclusion, many are calling for better training and resources. For now, programs like the MRP are leading the way, but there is still work to be done.
Because it's not necessarily just about funding, it's about helping people understand what's amazing about people with disability. And that's the message that's so important for us, is that we can all, it's all about focusing on what we can all do well. And our abilities are all different across a whole range of different areas. It's about in the areas in the community that don't have that experience that we've had.
And it all comes back to the children like Max, whose journey is so far from over. Now 21, Max has grown into a confident young man, thanks in part to the support of his family, his community and the Modified Rugby program. He has now branched out to other sports, recently finding his love for golf.
Golf is my nan plays golf.
Yes, yeah. And what else? Who else do you play golf with?
Jared.
Jared, and who else?
Jake.
Jake, yes. And tell Hannah, who's Jake?
Jake is my support worker.
Yeah. And you like him?
Yeah.
Even going to an upcoming tournament in the Gold Coast.
And the sort of golf that Max plays at the moment is what they call alternate shot. So Jake and Max play together, or Max might have another partner. Yeah. And so it's alternate hitting the ball each time.
For Max and his family, rugby is more important than just playing the game. It's about belonging, finding a place where he can find himself, and knowing that he is a part of a community that embraces him. What message would you offer or like to give other families with neurodiverse children with disabilities who might be considering seeking inclusive opportunities in the sporting?
Yeah, the big thing is find out what your children really love to do. That's the most important thing, because now we have choice, and that's the flip side of where this is really great, is that not everyone loves rugby.
While the Modified Rugby program has paved the way for inclusion, is there really enough choice? As families like the Elliots seek opportunities for their children to thrive, it's clear the responsibility lies with all of us to ensure that every child in every community can find a place where they truly belong. Hannah Watt, QUT News.